Welcome back and thanks for joining us. You're still on the POLITY, reaching you live from the nation's capital in Abuja. Well, the Minister of Defense as of this morning has stated that paying ransom is illegal in Nigeria. But before we dive deep into that, I have two guests with me in the studio today. I have the Director of Publicity and Advocacy spokesperson, Northern Elders Forum, that's NEF, Abdul-Azeez Suleiman, to my left. Good afternoon. And to my right, I have Comrade Duke Alamboye. Of course, there's not a new face on the program. Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you. It's
a pleasure having you. Happy New Year to you.
Happy
New Year, sir. All right. Yes, let's get into it proper. My first question will be to Honorable Abdul-Azeez. Something about Nigerian Tribune this afternoon that caught my attention said, NEF raises concern over plans to relocate key CBN departments to Lagos. What issue does NEF actually has against CBN moving the key departments from Abuja to Lagos?
You see, talking about Nigeria as a whole, as a country, I think there is a strategic logic in the relocation of the federal capital from Lagos to Abuja in the first place. And the understanding by that relocation is that all federal ministries would move as well to Abuja. Now, the central bank is a vital organ of government, financial organ, and it moved to Abuja for all these years. Now, for the central bank management, the current management, to plan to relocate some ministries, which are key to the operations of the bank, Apex Bank, I think the reasons given were not really cogent, because the reasons given were that there is congestion in the Abuja headquarters, so they want to decongest the headquarters. And our argument here is, it's about finances anyway. If the headquarters here is congested, it does not make sense to move more than 1,500 staff members to Lagos if it's about financing, because the money it will take to accommodate them, to get accommodations for them, the movement as well, would be enough to rent a building in Abuja if they cannot build one for themselves. Secondly, it will amount to a breach, I think, of the understanding of the relocation of the federal capital, because it will weaken the status of the federal capital, which is Abuja. You see, Lagos is already known as the commercial capital or perhaps financial capital of Nigeria. Now, for any movement that would strengthen it further and weaken the center as the federal capital, shouldn't be acceptable. Well, these are some of our arguments. Then when you come to regional considerations or perceptions, there is this fear, this concern that the staff that are going to be moved, like I said, that is regional consideration, the staff that are going to be moved will affect, because already we've had reports of some people putting in their resignations because they could not relocate
from Abuja
comfortably from north to, especially those who are married women. So you see that this first and foremost concern for the staff as human beings, individuals, then concern for the nation itself, because that would amount to a necessary expenditure, and also the unity, continued unity of the country, because I think the decision to move the federal capital to a more central area is to enhance unity. But
you find out that most of the parastatals, or let's say some agencies we have in Nigeria, most of their headquarters are in Lagos State, actually.
Yeah, some of them could be, but I think they were moved more properly with the understanding of the federal government. But I think this one is being proposed and implemented by the management of the CBN.
Okay, all right. Thank you. I'd like to get your own input on
that. Thank you very much. It's a very sensitive issue to discuss. I want to totally disagree with my brother here. And before I dive into that, let me quickly commend even the CBN governor for the reforms is making in that sector. It's one of the sectors that have been corrupt silently, where so many things, the economy base is domiciled in the hands of the CBN. The activities around the commercial banks, the developmental banks, and all of that we have. So if it is becoming necessary that they have to unbundle some of its departments, key departments, or whatever status you want to give to that department, to a separate place where they can function very independently, if it is geared towards progression, if it is geared towards enhancing the capacity of that institution, so be it. Like they have cited that congestion, and if you take a look at Abuja, of course, one thing that baffles me, Mercy, is that everybody wants to talk about better Nigeria. Everybody wants to talk about good Nigeria. Everybody wants to talk about progressive Nigeria. Nobody wants to take the brunt, the pain of going through for us to get a better Nigeria. Today we are seeing what is happening in the CBN, and if today they've sat down and critically analyzed to say that, look, we need to move some key organs of our ministry to Lagos, not even another developed city, well-developed city as Lagos, where you cannot compare the economic strength of Lagos to even to Abuja. Lagos is stronger economically than even Abuja. I think I want to commend that moves. So far as it is geared towards strengthening the financial system of Nigeria. It cited an instance of inconveniences and expenditure. For goodness sake, the CBN have lots of structures in Nigeria. Almost in all states, they have their buildings, they have their structures. So I'm not thinking that I'm not thinking that they have in their own decision. They've not considered those parameters. He also mentioned married women and the inconveniences of staff movement. I want to insist again. The CBN is not there are CBN staff quarters everywhere. So these are minor issues to consider, even when you want to say you're moving a particular department to a particular state for it to have its convenience. I also think that it is true that Abuja is too congested. Everybody that wants to work in any parastatal want to come to Abuja. To key it in properly, I also want to still emphasize that the federal government should also look at other ministries, that the Ministry of Niger Delta has no work in, they have nothing to do in Abuja. There is no job the Minister of Niger Delta is doing in Abuja. It should be taken to any of the states in the Niger Delta where he will be communicating and meeting and concentrating with the people of the Niger Delta. The same thing goes to some development. In fact, Ministry of Mining and Steel and Mining should be taken to the north, where their core value, the raw concentrated discussions and interactions, activities is happening. So I think it's a good one that is happening, that they unbundled NNPC. Some of the departments in NNPC, people that are monitoring ships and other vessels and all of that. Please, what are they doing in Abuja? What is such department doing in Abuja? They should take them to proximity where it will have its effect. So I want to still vehemently go against him and pray to him that, look, let us not discuss these fundamental issues, national issues, as it affects us, but to see it as an holistic progression by this government. This government came in without so much noise. They've been doing lots of reforms that is so suitable. They started with the pains of removal of a fuel subsidy. We're all crying. I think today we are beginning to see that fuel subsidy removal is good for us to have other processes going on. So I think to cut my argument short, I think it's commendable. We should not, give narrations to these issues based on how we feel it, but we should critically look at what impact it is to the economy and the growth of Nigeria. Okay,
speaking about impact and growth of economy, there is something I'd like to call our attention to the fact that Lagos has been said to be the New York of Nigeria. So if we're talking about the congestion, don't you think it should be a reverse case of moving from Lagos to Abuja instead of Abuja to Lagos, or better still take it to another state in Nigeria?
No. What my argument is not the state or the location it is going. My argument is I'm commending even that departure.
Okay.
I'm commending it because see, when they are even together, they although yes, they will have some sort of delays in administration. That will definitely occur when they want to transmit interfunctional activities. But we are in a modern world where in a twinkle of an eye, you post an email. If where staff, civil servants are very serious, they don't need all this file they carry around. We have what they call even on your phone, you can stay at home and work. So I think if they are taking it to Lagos, it is their plan to also consider congestion in Lagos or easy movement in Lagos. If it is in River State, in my state, they are bringing it to where our hands are open to receive them. But what I'm saying is that, for a truth, removing some of those departments from that center to anywhere else for easy job activities, I think is commendable.
Okay, in 2 minutes, I'm sure you have something to say about what he has said.
Yeah, I think he has keyed into our argument that if it's about the congestion alone, then Lagos shouldn't be. And our argument is, why moving back to Lagos? While in the first place, the capital was removed from Lagos due to congestion.
Okay.
So I think that will just be an exercise that will not serve any purpose. And like we said, why empower Lagos the more, which has been adjudged as the financial capital of Nigeria and economic base of Nigeria? Why not other states? So our argument is, why move to Lagos?
Okay, all right then. That's that on that as we move to our today's topic proper. That is the abduction epidemic in Nigeria, and of course, I'm talking about the rising level of insecurity in Nigeria. Well, be it as it may, the issue of insecurity in Nigeria has become something of grave concern to all well-meaning Nigerians. Now, most of whom continue to wonder how the country arrived at such a dastardly situation and arrived at such a dastardly situation where no one is safe, and worse still, rather than abate, the problem is escalating and Nigerians can't genuinely claim to be safe under this current circumstances. Now, when you talk about insecurity in Nigeria, it's a recurring phenomenon, and it threatens the well-being of Nigerian citizens. And not just that, I would like to use FCT as a perfect case study. We were supposed to actually bring this topic yesterday and talk about it, but then I was trying to observe what was going on the POLITY because of a Abuja student that was kidnapped a few days back, and her sister actually came out to actually talk about how her sister was kidnapped. But then, fortunately for them, they were released. But that is like one out of several others. And I mean, as of today, the Nigerian police, that's the person of Inspector General of Police, has come out to say over 7,000 people have been kidnapped. And out of this 7,000, we can only account for 1,000 people that have been killed. What happened to others? All of this and more is what we'll be talking about today. Now, my first question will be to Honorable by my left. When you talk about insecurity in Nigeria, don't you think our military personnel, do you think rather they are doing more, or do you think they're just being laid back about it? And you have to note something, that the Minister of Defense said something today in all of the papers, saying that now, as it stands now, paying of ransom is illegal in Nigeria.
Yeah. We had what the minister said, that it's illegal to pay ransom. Of course, it is, but kidnapping is also illegal. So he cannot just ask the victims whose relations are kidnapped and kept in captivity in the forests not to make effort to retrieve their families. The government is not doing enough to rescue these people who are in captivity. Okay. I think there are about 12 female students of University of Wisconsin still in captivity. So how can you say it is illegal for their parents to raise money and rescue them? And unless if government would provide a practical alternative where people will be assured the safety of the captives will be guaranteed and quick rescue. Otherwise, I don't think they can stop anybody from paying to kidnappers to get his kidnapped relation back. And now you see the escalation of this security situation could be blamed on several factors. Okay. One, I think. The inconsistency or the internal contradictions of Nigerians themselves as a whole. You know, when Boko Haram started, honestly, we did not do justice to the matter. we decided to look at it from regional or religious points of view, which gave it which provided it with the fertile ground to grow. The North was
blaming the South,
saying it's Jonathan's administration that was trying to depopulate northern Nigeria, and Jonathan's people were saying that it was the Northerners trying to give his administration a bad name, to make the North ungovernable. So that was the way we approached Boko Haram. And I think I remember a US security expert sent a warning. I think it was reported in one of their papers that if Nigerians made the mistake of looking at that Boko Haram issue in terms of religion or ethnicity, they will die by the millions. And that's what we saw. While the North was blaming Jonathan's administration and Jonathan's people were blaming the North, these people kept killing us. Now, then, it took a different dimension in the Northwest in particular. While I think there was a little success recorded in the Northeast, even though the insurgency has not been uprooted completely, but there has been a little success because Boko Haram had been pinned to enclaves now, no longer within the townships. Now this new dimension of insecurity in the Northwest is the most disturbing now, because you see why we are finding it convenient to talk now these days is because it's happening around the federal capital where there is easy accessibility to media. This thing has become a daily occurrence in northwestern communities of Zamfara, Katsina, Kebbi, Benue, Plateau, and other places. It's a daily occurrence. People are even used to it. Communities have been displaced every day. The bandits attack with audacious regularity, almost in the full glare of security forces. So you see, we get to talk about things when they happen where we can see them. So this thing has been ongoing for more than 8 years now, and it's escalating. When at the onset of this new administration, we had some relief along the Kaduna-Abuja highway, but recently we had reports that there were incidences also.
Yes, of course, because I was trying to get it on one of the papers. Yes, I know that every paper today has recorded one kidnapping cases or one killing one person or the other. For the Punch for this afternoon, they said bandits kill man, abduct 13 children on Kaduna Road. And then we're going to still get to the issue of crowdfunding, but then just to be sure about the number the Inspector General of Police has called out for leadership paper, he said 9,734 persons killed, 4,067 others abducted, and sometimes most of this data were gathered and they were not even checkmated. And if you would agree with me, I think it should be over 9,000 people actually. But then what are we doing in all of this? Our military personnel, are they properly trained, or are they poorly trained, poorly motivated, or are they poorly equipped? Because right now it has gone beyond citizens protecting themselves. Now that it has gotten to the Federal Capital Territory, I said this morning that the Federal Capital Territory is supposed to be safe, not because some Nigerians are more Nigerians than the other, but because it is the first. It's literally the first city. Yes, the first city to the country. So be it as it may right now, we are not safe. It has gotten beyond people traveling. It has gotten to the point where they come to their houses, kidnap them, kill some, and then it gets to the point where the federal government has said crowdfunding is no longer allowed. I'd like to get your own overview on it.
Okay, well, today I thank God today we are discussing the issues of insecurity freely, because in time past we want to discuss anytime I have had cause to deliberate on insecurity issues with military personnel, precisely the DIA, and most times when you talk, they want to say it's not something you have to discuss in the public. But today, I thank God that the activities, as it keep rising up, people are beginning to show concern, and like you rightly pointed out, today is no more banditry from within the streets or within the roads. Today, people are coming to even apprehend victims at home and then adopting them away. It's quite sad, but I want to say that these issues is being inherited by this government.
Okay.
And let me quickly just dive back a little, then trace back to this administration. Like you rightly pointed out, the Jonathan's administration, it was tug of wars. People were not really concentrating to checkmate what was the real cause of it. You know, at the time it was a transition government, so people were thinking that, oh, because it was the Southerner that was ruling, and exactly the way he has explained it, it ramped into the Buhari's administration, and it even became so heightened. So the question again, that was it right that it was interregional problem that was the cause? The answer became no. Now, let me take you to a different perspective of this insurgency or this insecurity. In the north, the mainstay in the north is mining. We have Ministry for Mining. Have you ever seen where they interrogate the activities of mining? Who are the owners of minings? From very good investigation, we are aware that the mining activities going on in the north is quite illegal, more illegal than it is legal. So, therefore, foreigners are being brought into this country to safeguard the mining activities that are illegal. They do exist in the north. So, I feel that what is happening is also politically motivated, and people are throwing their eyes away from. If you talk about security intelligence, there are lots of security intelligence at the disposal of the military. So again, I don't also want to go further to blame the military. They are well trained. The Nigerian military is one of the best military in Africa, if you want to talk about it. But because of the spate of political interest and interference, the military are also elsewhere bound. That was the Buhari's administration. At every point in time, they are moved out of their functionalities. If the military comes out today to say they want to fight this insecurity, they will fight it squarely. But the issue is that the sentiments attached to it, oh, you want to pull down our community, oh, the people, innocent people will go with it, and all of that is only never back. Sometimes the Buhari administration, they were changing service of chiefs, chief of staffs, service chiefs in the country, and one of them that was very vocal about it. I don't think it's about the service chiefs. It's about the structure. It's about the mandate. And today, you can see we have a president that is up to the game. This president we have today, a person of His Excellency Tinubu, is up to the game. He does not allow the news, the local news, to go by him. Immediately there is this news, local news, he is up to his task. That's why you're seeing the charges. The CDS, Chief of Defense Staff, they've all come out in their full regalia because today they have a political backing. The other time, they were dealing with the political issues around this security. Today, we are seeing a president that is very vehement, very stiff in saying that, look, whatever it will take them to fight insecurity in our country, we must put our hands together to fight it. And that is not just because it has escalated into the FCT. This is not the first time. We've seen bomb blasts as close as Banex, as close as Maraba, Yaya Road. So this is not the first time it is happening. So I wonder why people are becoming too over sentimental about it. But the truth is that this is a thing that really needs political backup. And today, as it is, the service chiefs are up to their game. They are providing possible solutions because there's a political system. The leadership is strengthening their activities. Let me tell you something. I was even thinking about it, but fairly enough, yesterday I heard the police, the IG, pronounced special squad. Special squad, yeah, that's correct. So these are the things that they will improve on. The Chief of Defense Staff had gone to the Niger Delta to check possible oil theft. Well, we should not slimline insecurity to banditry and all that. Yes, it's also the South is about oil theft. So making our GDP also reducing. So you can see that they are all hands are on deck now. The Navy, they are meeting day to day. And the only aspect I think that is missing is a deliberate discussion of stakeholders. We cannot fight insecurity without engaging the Nigerian youths. If you look at the people or the constituency that is perpetrating these vices, it cut across the youths. What is our concern? What is the level of our engagement with stakeholders? We need to deliberately sit with stakeholders, political circles, chiefs and rulers of communities to discuss these issues. It is not going to only, some issues are even solved in persuasion. Some issues are solved in investigation. Who do you investigate? The people that do these things are our brothers and sisters. So we must have a deliberate atmosphere or forum or seminar or of course seminar where we can discuss, or summit where we can come together, discuss, and they will also hear from Nigerian youths what they face. Some years back, the president of Nigerian Youth Organization, Abdul-Azeez, was adopted for almost as long as, and came out, lot of experience is again there, even became friends to the bandits, discussed with them, also knew, he took his time to know their problem. So we need to come out openly and discuss this issue, and also get feelers and informations, genuine informations from all of us. Before I get out of this discussion, let us also look at the causes. How will government come into these causes? Number one, poverty. I gave an instance of a community where a bandit, very rich bandit, goes into the community, provide water for the community, provide food for the community, and say, look, he is here to stay with them in peace. If he begins to perpetrate banditry activities, are you sure that community, even the head, will go and report him to which security? So that takes me to where you were talking about the confidence. We must make sure that there is lots of confidence in the security, in the security architecture. We must deliberately do orientation. People have lost confidence in the military to combating these insecurity issues. So we have to go down to the villages. We have to make more orientation to the people that, look, the military are still strengthened and is very strong to fight this cause, so that they can embrace them and work together with them in terms of giving out intelligence information and all of that.
Okay, I like the angle you brought it from, because it's talking about having trust deficit in the military today. There's a video that went around, I think, about a few weeks ago, where we saw one of the service chiefs, of course, talking about kidnappers and bandits and everyone that has been arrested over time. And he made mention, and he gave an example of several times where they arrest people and say, oh, we've caught so person that kidnapped or killed so person. But at the end of the day, they get calls from higher ups, and then they tell them to release the person because they are linked to one person or the other. So is our trust deficit supposed to actually be? Are we supposed to have the trust deficit with the military, or we should start with our politicians? That's one. You spoke about persuasion and investigation. After investigating, you've arrested, but then you get a call from someone up there to release so person. Where and how do we start from in Nigeria?
Yes, this is what I'm telling you.
And before you go further, remember that we arrested Boko Haram people a few years back, and they were pushed back into the society.
The political will, I mentioned it ab initio. I said, we had a previous government that was sympathetic to political values. Who is kidnapped? Who is he or her related to? Which political party does she or they belong to? These are the political sentiments they've used to kill the real genuine process for fighting insecurity. That kept the military tools down. Let me take you back to an instance where I think it was what's his name? The Yoruba man that ruled the country, Obasanjo regime, where he finished a whole community. These are political will. You cannot toy with a nation's survival and say you want to live. Okay, if you are a community and you're not capable to report an issue of insecurity, then you've compromised. That is the meaning. Today, as we are talking, I can tell you for the fact that the president we have is having zero tolerance to those miscreants, and he has ordered the service chiefs, and they are not just sleeping. We can see the immediate step they are taking. We on our own as Nigerian youth, we're also organizing, putting ourselves together. We can see a thorough interaction with them and in form of a national security summit to ensure that we are also part of this process. We talk with our people, we talk with our constituency. We need to discuss these issues with them, checkmate where we can be of help, and move this issue of insecurity to a bygone issue. We want to thank the president for his resolution to fighting this. He has no, if even it is his mother, he has vowed that person should be brought to book. Gone are those days where you'll be arrested or you'll be apprehended and they say, I don't think this government is ready for that kind of a thing. To talk of the time that the president is very positioned with his will and ability to take this nation forward, he won't want to be dragged back with issues of insecurity.
Speaking about being dragged back, my question to you, Honorable, FEC warns against crowdfunding to pay ransom. You mentioned earlier that if paying ransom is illegal, of course the government has to step up their game. Now they've blamed the FCT insecurity on fleeing bandits from northwest, north central. In all of this, we have intelligence gathering in Nigeria. We have the DSSA, they have the intelligence gathering, we have the police, we have the Nigerian army. Everybody has intelligence gathering. Should it have resulted to it getting to the fact that people cannot even stay anymore in their house?
You see, like he said, I do really agree with him that what we lacked previously is the political will. There was no political will to challenge these criminals, and they have sensed that huge vacuum in the political will, with the exploited. Now, as we can all see, there is that will, and what is lacking is proper coordination. You see, the political will in the past has given rise to inter-agency rivalry within the security forces. So you find that the police will be operating separately from the DSS, the army will be operating, so that we did not have coordination and cooperation within the agencies. And we also had a lack of cooperation between the federal government and the states, especially the affected states in the northwest. The governors were operating in isolation, while the federal government would be operating in isolation. So there was no unity in this approach, in these strategies. I think, like he said, that we are putting that into practice. Very soon we are going to, we have already finished the preparations for a round table discussion of northern stakeholders. We are inviting all the frontline state governors, all traditional rulers, all clerics, business persons, civil society groups, the media, and all, because we want a situation where after improving that missing synergy, the cooperation, we want a situation where the communities themselves would own this fight. Want them to take ownership of the fight, because as it is today, you find that the man in the village feels that is the soldier man that is fighting. It's not his business, which is why they even tell stories of how soldiers were killed because they did not deem the fight
as their own.
So we want to mobilize the people so that they know that this fight is their own. Like I said earlier, if Nigerians had confronted this issue collective, I think we did that once. Maybe we don't seem to realize that we did. At the onset of Ebola, sometimes during Jonathan's administration, I think the whole of Nigerians just fought it. And I mean, sometimes even unconsciously, I would say eat bitter cola,
except from the salt part.
I think within 1 week, Ebola was
killed. That's correct.
If we had risen collectively against Boko Haram, it wouldn't have gone this far. But we went about it separately, and that is what gave the grounds for the banditry in the northwest to thrive, because when it started, some governors would say they wanted to offer amnesty. You see, you don't offer amnesty to a criminal who is staying in the forests. He will simply bring an old AK-47 to you, collect 20 million, go and buy new ones.
Exactly.
You understand? So you don't do that. You either fight them, like he said, as Obasanjo had shown that political will at Zaki Biam. I think there was violence the military men were sent in there. About 3 of them were killed. Wasn't just said wipe out the community. I don't think it exists now. So you see, we have the capacity. Our troops have the capacity, but there is no political will to push them. Which is why I think sometimes they even drop their weapons and run, because they are not ordered. You see, the chain of command in the military is quite different from the one in the police. The police can shoot when he perceives crime, but the military has to obtain order, because we have instances where the community will tell us that the soldiers were there, but they could not act because they were waiting for directives. So you see, there is that chain of command, but honestly, our troops are up to the task. What we lack is the political will from our political leaders. They have seemed to politicize the security situation into an enterprise. We call it an enterprise as far as we're concerned, because you find that most of those states that are being affected, the politicians are not really concerned about the deaths and devastations, which is why they have refused. I repeat, they refused to come together and form a unified front. We such an example of the Southwest. I think their situation was not as dire as Northern
before they formed the Amotekun. Yeah, that's correct.
It was an idea. The traditional accepted it, their governors accepted it, and all their political leaders accepted it, and they formalized it. I think we made an attempt here in northern Nigeria.
Well, sorry to barge in, because I was going to read on what you said. For Blueprint, they said Mieti Allah set up 1,144 nomad vigilantes in Nasarawa. The question begs, have we gotten to the point where we are now responsible for the protection of our own lives and properties?
You see, like I said, it's all about political will. If the governor could speak honestly with his people, like my friend there said, I know the criminal in my own house, I know the criminal next door, but if I shield him, he shields his own, then we cannot get to the root of it. I was in Zaria City about a week ago. They said there are informants, female informants in Zaria City. I said, but it's the fault of the parents. They said, how? I said, you should know if your daughter is wearing a new necklace. You should know if your daughter is wearing a new pair of shoes, which you did not buy for her, and she is not married, and she cannot account for it. You should know if your own son, for instance, is wearing a 20,000 naira canvas. You should. So it's like he said, it can be attributed to undue manipulation of poverty. Because you cannot say, because I'm poor, my son can go and commit crime so that I will eat. That's undue manipulation of poverty. There is poverty, of course, but I'm quite sure if parents would be honest with the fight, we want to see an end to this. Like I said, I know the criminal in my house, I know the criminal in my neighborhood. We all know. There was a time they rustled cattle in one of the villages close to us. We went there because we used to go to the communities to consult them or to find out what was up. One old man said, look, this thing will never come to an end, because if I will not bring out the thief in my own house, that man will not bring out his own thief. They will keep killing us and they'll keep stealing our cows. We know them. That's why he said, we know them. But we are shielding them. Protecting them. And that's what's happening here. Like you said, the village head might have been in the payroll of some of these guys. Now when the military man comes from Port Harcourt, he will go to the village head for guidance, because he does not know the terrain. Now the village head will mislead him. So you see, we have to have a change of attitude towards it. And I do believe in what that American said. If we are not careful, we will die by the millions. Because these guys seem to be more organized than we are. Now, if they will have an informant, for instance, in the heart of Nigeria, in Abuja, someone who will inform them while they are in the village, why can't we have informants within their ranks? I mean, it only takes some training. Get one of them. You have resources. You are government. Get one of them. Give him enough resources. He will be part of them, and he will be sending information to you. Like we used to cite example of this man Osama bin Laden. Perhaps it's even his wife that gave information of his whereabouts, because the US knew how to use malls. Yes. But if we cannot penetrate these people, while they are able to penetrate our communities, they have paid agents within us. While our government, with all the immense resources it has, cannot have agents that will report their movements. I think then it's unfortunate.
Okay. Well, let me quickly comment on the statement by the Chief of Army Staff. Payment of what they call ransom is illegal. In everywhere in the world, payment of ransom is illegal. But that is not also to say that countries don't negotiate for their citizens. They do that. I think what is wrong in Nigeria is the announcing,
the crowdfunding,
making it look as if all of that. But you can't take away until it happens to you. You don't know when they kidnap your person, and then they are talking of 10 million, and perhaps 3 persons in the family can bring 10 million. Are you saying that we should hold our hands there? But I think what he is trying to say is a due process, keeping it low. Because if we begin to announce ransoms paid and all of that, the international community begin to see us as also funding terrorism. That is the meaning of that's what it means.
And even these terrorists are amongst us. We don't know.
That's also what the criminals would want, because what they want is to send scare and fear. So if you give them undue publicity, they achieve their aims, of course, because this publicity we are even giving to them is even too much. If someone is kidnapped, our families are kidnapped, we can go through the military. The military knows how to negotiate, or whatever medium or methodology they want to use. They know best forms of doing it. I don't think there's anywhere kidnapping issue comes up. Just in China, it happened some days ago. There was an issue of kidnap, and they investigated it and got hold of it. So instead of solely, I think what it should mean is that instead of solely negotiating with kidnappers and begin to transport, of course, this money they pay, it's not a bank that goes to collect them. This huge amount of money they pay. We see bullion vans and whatever safety vans go there to even pack these things. So there is a lot to do. There's a lot of information, and there's a lot of persons that should put their hands on deck. Let us squarely face this matter and then see how we can finish it.
Now, speaking about putting hands on deck, you spoke about something, I don't know which either of you spoke about the Inspector General of Police launching a squad, of course, to combat this. Now, police deploy armored personnel carriers, helicopter to Buhari, set up special units. Whether we like it or not, now it's our responsibility to protect our lives and properties, because as it is right now, I can't remember us having any number to say we want to call to say should in case something happens. How do you think the government, because he spoke about synergy between the federal government and the state government, but now let's talk about the synergy between the government and the people itself. How do you think they can actually harness synergizing or whatever relationship we can have to combat all of this?
Collaboration.
Yes.
Let me give you one information. The Commissioner of Police have a duty to this cause. Most of his men, I can tell you that about 60% of the police personnel are in the houses of the elites in this country. So we can come up with a strategy. That's why I said this summit is very key. We have written to all the service chiefs. We have written to all of them. So we have the youth populace unemployed, not even knowing what to do, causing more mayhem in the society, right? Why not retrieve all those police personnel? I didn't know. I would have taken the statistics of what number of police force, what is the number in the police force. Why not retrieve all these people, recruit more Nigerian youths, train them to protect elites in the country? The people that have the civil right to protect our internal whatever are in the houses of politicians, rich men, sometimes even Yahoo boys are beginning to carry police to travel. So why not we retrieve those people that are well trained and equipped and have experience to surmount these issues? Why don't we retrieve them, put them into purposeful use, redeploy, retrain Nigerian youths, employ Nigerian youths to that will, after all, what they do, the possible do is to sit down in the van, one small gun, and allow the man pass through whatever bad roads it is. That takes me to another factor again. Our bad road is also an agent to criminalities and insecurity in our country. You can't drive safely from one city to the other without stopping. A major road, trunk A road, that you're supposed to count seconds or hours to pass, you're using 5-6 hours to pass from here to Kaduna, which is in those days just 2.5 hours. So there's a lot to be done. The Ministry of Works and Housing would say, they also need to come in, because the roads are even death traps. So they are agents, they are even physical and more helpful agents to banditry and kidnapping.
Of course, it is.
So in as much as we are looking at the military to up their games, government also need to up their games in facilitating repairs of these roads. You drive from here to Kaduna, if you are sure that the roads are good, 2 hours on a speed of 120, which bandit wants to come and stop you? But at every point, you're slowing down your speedometer to 2 to 3, and then they come out from the bush and harass you. So there's a lot to be done, and we're really pleading with the government to see that we have this summit. We have a lot to tell, to help the person out to the military and stakeholders, for us to also see that we are fighting this together.
Okay, as you are raising this summit, I was reading my chat and someone was replying with, are we going to have a talk and do segment? Because in Nigeria, most of the policies that we actually push out there are not being implemented.
Mercy, I keep saying something. Today we are also bold. Today I'm bold to coming out to discuss this, because I am very sure that this administration is resolved to ending. If this is what President Tinubu will achieve in 4 years, the way he called the service chiefs, it is not the usual I heard. He said he is aware, and then he said he is giving them a marching order. In fact, he went further to tell the FCT minister, any support you can give. I won't mention name. One past very prominent political leader in Rivers State, I said it one time, if we don't fight insecurity, if we don't fight poverty, it will fight us back. And this is what is happening. For them to now begin to come into the city to arrange a kidnap, not in somebody's house, in an estate, is terrible. We are getting there, but God will not allow us to get there.
Amen.
And
all right, thank you. Yeah, I'd like you to go ahead.
Okay, along this line, I think it's been long since Nigerians actually sat and spoke to themselves. All these recommendations that people say are being consigned to the dustbin of history are recommendations made by commissions set up by governments. But if Nigerians should sit, talk to themselves, and come up with a recommendation, I'm quite sure the same Nigerians would ensure they are enforced, they are implemented. But you see, we don't. If they set up a committee, the person that sets up the committee knows he's so sincere about it, and we, the citizens, know it's going to end up in the dustbin of history. So, but if we talk to ourselves, he's from Niger Delta, I think, from Northwest. If we sit and say, look, why should we be killed? What future would we leave behind our children?
Okay. All right, thank you very much, Honorable, and thank you, Comrade, for joining us today on the program. I'm sure we would still address this one more time, and we hope one of the police PRO will be joining us further on the program to, of course, sensitize Nigerians and what to do and what not to do as regards security matters in the country. But once again, thank you, gentlemen, for joining us today on the Polity. And this is where we wrap it up for the Polity today. Before my producer screen the studio down on my head right now, I remain Mercy Babajide. Thank you for staying tuned with us on the Polity this afternoon. See you same time, same station tomorrow.